in 2010, obviously, I PR'd and had a couple of 8-meter performances. But in terms of consistency, I think this was one of the better of my professional career. Obviously, I wanted more going into the World Championships, and wanted to. I definitely felt like I was a medal contender this year, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. This wasn't my time. So, but going into next season, I'm still doing small things to recover my knee from, which is, it's been kind of an issue for the last couple of seasons, but it's much better than it has been. But it's an ongoing process. They can't just stop and forget about it. Otherwise, it'll go back to being really bad. Got the World Indoor Championships next year, and so my first goal is, assess my fitness and make sure that everything goes well strength-wise. And if I'm at a point where myself and coach think that I can be competitive, attend the World Indoor Championships in Poland, which will be in March. And it's going to be a big year, though. We've got Commonwealth Games and got CAC Games again coming up around. So it's a lot of big track meets coming up next year.
No, you put your body through some rigorous tests the last week and a half, where you competed in 4 different events. What were you just trying to finish off strong, or were you trying to qualify for something for next year?
I was definitely trying to hit the qualifying standard for the World Indoor Championships. It's 8:16 meters, and I also felt like I was in shape enough to potentially hit a personal best, and I've been feeling that way for quite some time this season. So I really was pushing to hit a PR, and obviously, being professional, some of these meets are strictly for financial gain, and fun. So I wanted to make a little money and make sure that my off season was as comfortable as possible, so I didn't have to stress about the finances. And definitely was trying to PR, though. I mean, I had some really great jumps. They were fouls, just the same as it's been all season. So I'm still working on my approach, and maybe I was a bit naive to think that in 1 year I can get a new approach completely dialed in, but I wasn't able to get it all the way dialed in, which is why I kept fouling off the big jumps. So, it's an ongoing process, and we'll just build on it next year. I have really good feeling, because good strength, and with my knee and my jump leg getting stronger every day, I know it's going to be a good season coming up.
Now, if you had to give your season a rate between 1 and 10, what would you give it?
Well, that's hard. That's hard. I would probably put it somewhere like a 7.5 or an 8. It's probably a 7.5. I mean, really not making the final when I should have been there, and at no one's fault but my own failure to execute really downgrades the season in my eyes. I mean, I had some good jumps at 8:13, 8:09, 8:05, some high 790s, but not getting over 8:20 and not making it to the final really makes it hard to put a complete positive light on the season. But it was better than last year, where I failed to reach 8 meters. Not better in the fact that I made the final at the Olympics and I didn't make it at World. But that's just one day. A season. The thing about the sport, season comes down to one day a lot of the times. But if you want to look at the consistency and the overall of the whole season, obviously it was much better than it was last year without the crown jewel of making it to the final.
Now, sitting back and reflecting on it, what do you think you need to do to be more consistent over the 8 meters?
Really, I think what it comes down to is first of all being healthy. That's the major. Is just being healthy. And this past year, I really didn't have an opportunity to work on my takeoff as much because I was kind of babying my knee just as to not flare things up. So when you don't work on your takeoffs, it becomes harder to see the board as quickly as it comes to you. So when I get to practice my takeoff, and I can be more comfortable with seeing the board coming at me and jumping and off of it, except for because that was only happening during competitions this year, not during practice. So when I get that work back in and I'm able to really drill it and hone in like I'm used to, that'll take care of the fouls. And the speed, it's taking care of itself. So I'm getting stronger and faster. I'm going to probably run some 100-meter dashes and 60-meter dashes next year to build some strength and some endurance. So it really, I think it just comes down to practice and training and being able to do things 100% in training without worrying about affecting how I'm going to compete. So, going to compete.